and talking about every company becoming a digital company. There is no better example than GE. And there is no better example of that than Jeff Immelt as the leader of GE, who has helped transform this industrial giant into a full-blown digital company. So I wanted to invite up on stage Jeff to come share his thoughts about this transformation.
Satya, how are you? Good to be with you. Thanks for Morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much, Jeff, for being at WPC. This is a group of 20,000 or so of our closest friends who are helping us and all over the globe transform customers. I know you've been at the helm for now 15 years at General Electric, and it's been quite a transformation. Maybe to start off, you can share a bit of that journey with the audience here.
No, so Satya, it's great to be with you and great to meet with all of you. Really an impressive story at Microsoft, and congratulations on everything you've done. It's been fantastic. So in 15 years, I'd say 4 important transformations on companies. GE's 140 years old. If you want to stay around a while, you have to be willing to drive change. I think a big portfolio change to really center the company on high-tech infrastructure. Really profound investments in technology so that today we have basically our installed base is worth about $2 trillion with our customers. In 2001, we were 70% inside the United States. 2016 will be 70% outside the United States. And really the 4th big transition that I've been involved with in GE is really this creating this digital industrial, what you've talked about, which we really started in earnest in 2010, and that's accelerating today. It's maybe in 34 years of GE, this is the single most important change I've ever driven inside the company.
That's pretty amazing. You know, there must have been a moment in time when you recognized that you, of course, are an industrial company, but digital is going to be a core part of your future. How did that realization come about, and how did you go about that change?
So, you know, Satya, it never happens in like 1 minute or one thing. Like most industrial companies or people in this room, we've always had software engineers and things like that. But I think increasingly we saw that the nature of our technology was changing. That a jet engine was no longer a jet engine. A jet engine had 30 sensors, was taking a terabyte of data at each flight. And I would say 2009, 2010, we basically said, this isn't a question of whether or not we're a software company or industrial company. Industrial companies are going to become software companies. And the nature of our customers were changing, and the nature of our products were changing. So we didn't go to bed one night and dream and say, oh, we have to wake up tomorrow and be Microsoft, even though you're a great company. I think we said to be a better industrial company, we can't allow our digital future to be created by others. That basically our products, the technology, what our customers demanded, we're going to really require that we do that. And so we've invested in massively to drive this digital transformation.
And culturally, were there things that you had to sort of really do differently to, make that change and from being an industrial company to a digital company? And did you rely even on others from the outside to help with that?
Yeah, so Satya, what I would say is there's really 3 levels of driving the kind of change that you talked about. The foundational point is really talent and culture. And fundamentally, we had to go outside the company to get the talent we needed. We had to sell them on the mission to say there was going to be a brave new world called the industrial internet that basically people like GE could play. They saw us invest the money. They saw us hire the people. And at the same time, we had to change the way we worked inside the company. We had to take out layers of management. We had to embrace speed, what we call fast works inside the company. We basically took all of the old Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, and put them into a software context. Then we've invested in technology, both having our own platform, but also what we call the digital twin. We've created around each industrial asset kind of a digital corollary, if you will, that can do predictive failure, driving a digital thread inside the company. And then you have to massively change your sales force. The way you interface with customers is more outcome-based, And we've tried to create inside GE our own ecosystem of partners. If you told me even 5 or 10 years ago that we would do anything inside our company open source, right, or open up to partners, I would have said that's not how industrial companies work. Now it is how every industrial company has to work. So culture, talent, technology, ecosystem with customers, we've really embraced all of this change to improve the company.
Yeah, I mean, listening to you, it's just like how we think about building digital products. I mean, I love that metaphor of a digital twin for every industrial asset. Today we're very excited about the announcement that we're jointly making with you about GE Predix coming to Azure, and I think it represents a huge opportunity, in fact, for everyone in the audience to be able to take GE Predix and all of the rich data services and infrastructure services of Azure and build out the industrial internet solutions for world over. But maybe you want to talk a little bit about GE Predix.
I agree. I think one of the dangers everybody gets into is you want to make consumer internet exactly the same as enterprise, exactly the same as industrial, when in point of fact, all three are going to be different. You may have similar competitors, but the way they roll out are going to be very different. And I think we see in Azure not only a great cloud technology, the ability to really globalize quickly, but it's a platform on which other platforms can go. And I think the relationship we see with Microsoft will allow us to move more quickly in places that are important for us, which is really all over the world. Yeah. And our idea is to put a real industrial strength, analytically based, really looking at asset performance management inside Azure to open up Predix. And hopefully many of you in this room will then develop applications that go on in our customers in the industrial base, like the ones you saw earlier today. And what we bring is this marriage between analytics and physics. If you talk about the new world of industrial internet, you talk about things like no unplanned downtime. Now, no unplanned downtime doesn't sound sexy, but that's worth tens of billions of dollars of productivity, and you only get that between physics and analytics. So I think relationships like ours allows both of us to move more quickly. There's going to be places where we have to work with others, and we'll work with others, and these will be open relationships. But I think in the end, customers are going to determine who's successful. And relationships like this allow us to move more quickly and be able to port for chief technology officers to be able to go from IT to OT relatively quickly, and we think that's important as well.
Yeah, I think that bridge of IT to OT is what this partner ecosystem, in fact, is also striving to do, and having Predix now in App Source really helps all these partners to be able to really go on, talk to that IT meeting OT opportunity ahead of us. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, one of the things that I recently had a chance to read was the transcript of your speech at Stern, which is an amazing speech about, I think, what the future of a multinational company is. In fact, what the new ethos of a multinational company is when you think about a global multinational, but then yet creating local opportunity. And I know it's a new pivot that you've started talking about, and I think it's very relevant for all of us and in this audience as we think about local partnerships and global growth. Maybe you want to share us a little bit.
So really for more than let's say almost 10 years, globalization has been important always for GE, but we've focused on really localizing how we go to market. And I think you can see it both in politics in the US and politics in Europe and really politics everywhere. The globalization and big trade deals are going to be harder to do. But what we've really tried to build our global network around is localization. It protects us really and our customers from the vagaries of politics and things like that. But more importantly, it makes us a part of the local economies. So we see solving problems on a local basis as let's say, the competitive advantage that GE has. And in many ways, the digital transformation makes this easier. It allows us to solve problems that used to take sending people from headquarters or things like that, and now allows us to solve those on a very local basis. It's allowed us to decouple our supply chain, to go from multi-thousand person factories to 300 or 400 person factories all around the world. And the earliest, the people that have embraced the industrial internet the earliest are really people in Pakistan and South Africa and Saudi Arabia and Indonesia, because the difference between success and failure is just one more hour of uptime per week. And so the use of the tools, the use of the digital tools is moving much more quickly globally, but each country needs its own solution. It's not kind of one size fits all. And in that regard, the industrial internet is going to be very different than the consumer internet. And I think those differences are going to be why people like GE can be successful and people like Microsoft can be successful in the same industry. It's because it's going to be a unit of one, not necessarily a unit of many.
No, I mean, I think what you just said is so true even of what we are seeing in terms of global growth. In the past, when we just had servers, the penetration of that infrastructure required a lot more sophistication and cost at the edge. And that, in some sense, stymied our global growth. But now you see even the smallest of businesses in an emerging market tap into the cloud. Public sector organizations all over the world are doing machine learning in order to be able to do predictive outcomes. And so to me, that kind of transformation, being able to be possible locally, is just very transformative.
And we see the same thing.
Yeah. Maybe as a parting piece of advice to people in the room, because there are lots of CEOs. They're all running their own businesses. They're also navigating these changing times in digital technology. Any advice for anyone who's an entrepreneur, a CEO, leading an organization?
So I would say point number one is you must change. That basically 25 years ago in GE, the biggest goal was to outsource everything. Today, if you outsource all of your technology, all of your software, all of your notions on digital, you're going to lose. You're going to lose badly. The nature of the CIO is also going to change dramatically from a staff function to an operational productivity function. And then the last thing I would say is that if we can do it, you can do it. Not only must you change, but you can change. But it's going to take investments in culture, it's going to take investments in technology, and you're going to have to change the business model with which you interface with your customers. And so you're going to have to really dedicate yourselves and your organizations to do this. But, my belief, this is the biggest, we're in a line of demarcation for industrial companies. There's a past and there's going to be a future. And the future is really going to be derived on who digitizes the fastest.
Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a real pleasure.
Great to be with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.